Welcome to a brand new episode of the Jampack Report today for June the 16th of 2020. Of course, my name is Samuel Adams and this is a daily gaming news podcast meant to bring you the hottest news you need to know from around the industry. Hosted on YouTube and podcast services around the world 5 days a week, it is your one-stop shop for everything you need to know. So if you enjoy the show and you like what you see, hit that subscribe button and keep coming back for more. But today we got some more details about PAX Online, which is the new replacement event that is coming in the place of PAX West 2020, and it's 9 days long. How much PAX is too much PAX? The team at Destructoid asks. I don't think we will ever find out the answer to that question. There will be no PAX West this year, at least not as we traditionally know it. PAX West, always held in Seattle over Labor Day weekend, won't be held as a physical event this time, as most every other gaming convention scheduled after mid-March has been canceled, so too has PAX. Instead, Penny Arcade is making it a digital event, a route many other conventions have taken. Starting on September the 12th, PAX Online is a 9-day ordeal that runs 24 hours a day. What PAX has lost in camaraderie, community, and being surrounded by friends, it has made up for in sheer bulk. This technically is not just PAX West, though. PAX Australia is bundled into PAX Online, as Penny Arcade Down Under Drop Bear Edition has also been cancelled. PAX Australia typically takes place in early-ish October. PAX Online will have game reveals, panels, esports tournaments, and an indie showcase. There will also be demos for the public to play, presumably on Steam and possibly as part of Summer Game Fest. All of this is free. There is no digital ticket to access PAX's online replacement. I am sorry that I used all caps in that headline, the writer says, but I think we can forgive this individual on the Jampack Report because that is a lot of time. I think one big notable piece of content here, or at least one of the biggest points to point out, is that there is no digital ticket. You see so many of these events trying to sell some kind of digital replacement ticket to make up for lost profit, and PAX, or at least the team at Penny Arcade, is saying, no, let's not do that. PAX Online is free for everyone. 24 hours a day for 9 days. Let's talk about the amount of content. That is a significant time investment, and I am going to be watching a lot of this show. Because PAX is always one of my favorite events. Of course, it is better in person from what I hear, but even online, it seems to be just behind E3 in terms of the amount of hype surrounding the event itself. And I do hope that at some point in the future, whenever hopefully we see a return to somewhat normalcy, I would love to go to a PAX event or in general gaming conventions. They seem like such a good time, and I am one of the few people that seems to be this invested in gaming to have an entire podcast dedicated to it, but I have not been to an actual show. More of a homebody myself. But this is going to be fantastic because it gives the opportunity to play games from the show. It gives the opportunity to host events and for these giant game developers and publishers to show off what is going to be coming to the next generation of consoles. Because again, this is a very significant piece of news since Labor Day weekend is getting very, very close to the release of the consoles themselves. By that point, we will have a price point. The conversation will have advanced. It's going to be a totally different world when September rolls around. But if you were looking forward to going to PAX West, of course, we knew that was going to get canceled, and it got canceled months ago, but now we know exactly what is going to be coming. So again, PAX Online is going to be 9 days long, and it will end up kicking off on September the 12th. For 24 hours a day. Very impressive. And one of those games you are going to be seeing is the Marvel's Avengers game, which still looks bad. Marvel's Avengers director Sean Astin let loose a new image from the upcoming game that features looks at Thor, Iron Man, Black Widow, and more. After a few months of silence, Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics are finally set to show off more of Marvel's Avengers in a new live stream next week. Prior to that time, however, one of the lead developers of the project today gave fans a brief tease of what to expect in the future. Over on Twitter this afternoon, Sean, the creative director of Marvel's Avengers, shared a new image from the game that is set to appear in the forthcoming trailer. The screenshot in question features most of the Avengers, including Black Widow, Hulk, Iron Man, Miss Marvel, and Thor. Captain America is notably absent, even though this is likely because he is considered dead in the game's narrative. Each character is also donning a special edition costume that you will be able to change into as well. Quote, "The teams just closed out this trailer," Skeggs said in the caption accompanying the image. "We can't wait for fans to see it." Not long after Skeg shared the tweet, the official Marvel's Avengers account also reshared it and provided some interesting info. In regards to the upcoming War Table stream, which is what Crystal Dynamics is referring to next week's gameplay presentation, all of the footage from that showing will apparently be from the PS4 iteration of the game. They say, and I quote, "Here's a sneak peek from our story trailer made in collaboration with our friends at PlayStation and captured on the PS4," the tweet from the account stated. All in all, while there is not a whole lot new in this image alone, I do have to say the visuals seem to have improved since we last saw them. And again, here is that image if you did want to give it a look. I'll go ahead and zoom out just a bit if I can. Doesn't look like I can. Oh well. So let's go ahead and talk about this entire situation. Oh man, it's just not great. There we go. Let's get the full thing in. So whenever I'm looking at Marvel's Avengers, this seems to be like you got knockoff actors to play very famous roles, and I do understand that it is difficult to nail down all of these big name actors that made the Marvel's Avengers movies so successful in theaters, but now this doesn't look like Hulk to me. This is not Thor. This is not Black Widow. Iron Man's suit looks a little jacked up. It's all kinds of strange. It's just not a good look, because we are so used to seeing these characters portrayed in such a specific way. And even Miss Marvel is just kind of like, it's not really Miss Marvel, you know what I mean? So it's a very iffy situation here. The gameplay, I am sure, is going to be very interesting to watch, and I'm excited to see a full reveal. But at the end of the day, the name The Avengers has been praised to such a degree that if you don't have Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, and you have somebody that is vaguely similar in nature to Robert Downey Jr., it's just going to feel a bit off, and that same concept can be applied to every individual across the board. I'm not looking forward to this whatsoever, because number one, not a big Avengers guy. Number two, the knockoff feel of this just doesn't really congeal with me. Now, Marvel's Avengers is set to launch later this year on PS4, Xbox One, Stadia, and PC on September the 4th, so we will see just how good the game is when we get more information and some gameplay later on next week with Hulk and Thra. Let's go ahead and call them that, because those faces are just, man, it looks bad. Just not a big fan. But moving on, itch.io bundle for racial injustice and equality ends with a stunning $8.1 million raised. Over 1,700 games in a bundle bought by over 810,000 people. The itch.io bundle for racial justice and equality has been a stunning success, raising $8.1 million for funds supporting the Black Lives Matter movement. The bundle, which contained more than 1,700 games donated by their creators, was bought by over 810,000 people, raising over $8.1 million over its $5 million target. The average contribution was $10.30. The top contribution was $5,000. The itch.io bundle for racial justice and equality was widely considered to be the best value bundle in video game history, not just because it had so many games included, but because of the quality of some of those games. Indie darlings Night in the Woods, Overland, Minute, Oxenfree, Celeste, Super Hexagon, A Short Hike, and 2064 Read-Only Memories were all donated by their developers. Quote, "We live in a time of racial injustice, inequality, and police brutality against black people," itch.io said in a statement. "We hope that everyone takes a stand in any way they can. We have partnered with creators from all across our platform to support organizations that are working directly with those affected. The money raised will now be split 50-50 between the NAACP Legal Defense and Educational Fund and Community Bail Fund." I wanted to point this out because this is another example of gaming doing good. I always like to highlight those, and if you go back through the years, I've highlighted gaming doing good in a variety of different ways. But to see that 810,000 people generated over $8.1 million just by playing games, that's phenomenal, and congrats to the team at itch.io for making that happen. Very impressive stuff, and it is good to see that money going to a good cause that is definitely going to be putting a lot of good back into the world in a year that is so tumultuous in a variety of ways. But to round out today's show, I've got a freebie for you guys if you happen to own The Witcher 3. The Witcher 3 console players can now claim a free PC copy of the game. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt recently turned 5 years old, and CD Projekt Red wants to make sure you can play it on your PC, even if you have never played there before. It's giving away a free copy of The Witcher 3 through GOG from now until June 23rd at 7 a.m. Eastern Time, as long as you connect an existing copy to the GOG Galaxy 2.0 app. Whether you are on PC via the Epic Games Store, Origin, or Steam, or using a PS4 or Xbox One, Switch players are left out due to the lack of integration, unfortunately, but it's otherwise a good deal. You will need to own the Game of the Year edition if you want to get that copy. Anyone else gets the base version. If you already own a GOG copy and a version on another platform, though, you will receive a code that you can pass on to someone else if you would like them to share Geralt's adventures. The GOG version includes the soundtrack, a digital comic book, and instructions for paper toys, so it might be worth grabbing even if you have no intention of playing the GOG release. Of course, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, largely regarded as one of the most significant games of this generation, and many would say of all time, but to see them giving away a copy for free is fantastic, especially if you are potentially transitioning from the console life to a PC, since we do have a new generation of consoles coming out. That seems to be a good time for a lot of people to make the jump. So if you do want to redeem your free copy, again, you just have to link your PlayStation or Xbox account, and you can make that happen. But that rounds out today's episode of the Jampack Report. If you enjoyed this one, drop me a like down below and let me know what you think about everything we talked about here today. But specifically, will you be tuning in to PAX Online? I'll be there. Hopefully you will be as well. Or do you look forward to the day that we can get back together and actually go to physical events? But until next time, you guys have a fantastic rest of your night. I'll talk to you soon, and peace.